Okay, it looks like we're ready to get started, and I'll hand it over to you, Commissioner. If I can just do a reminder to the press on the phone and on video, if you can please keep your line. We will have a chance for questions at the end, but it will help us to eliminate echoes. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Jen. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're thrilled to have you here for a virtual press conference focused on a campaign that we're launching today called Good Jobs Now. I'm joined today by our Deputy Commissioner at the Department of Employment and Economic Development, Hamza Warfa, also by the CEO of Wyoming Machine, Tracy Topany, and by the Chief Human Resources Officer at Marvin Windows, Rick Tronfet. We're thrilled to be joined by Rick and Tracy in particular, and excited to hear their stories in a moment. But Hamza and I wanted to kick it off with just a little bit of a context of why we're doing this and the goal of this campaign. I think we all know that COVID-19 has hit our economy really hard. We've lost about 385,000 jobs since this all began. We've gotten back roughly a little bit below half of those jobs in the months since then, but the job growth rate is really only at about 0.5% in the state overall. So we're hoping that picks up, but we know that so many workers are suffering, and without those unemployment insurance benefits that the federal government kicked into gear in place, it is a hard time for workers across our state, and for businesses too, who are navigating totally different consumer spending habits, different consumer confidence levels with their businesses, and just a whole host of challenges around safety and helping workers navigate this moment. And at the same time, though you still have every week around 240,000 Minnesotans who are unemployed and requesting benefits from our unemployment insurance system, one of the paradoxes that we've begun to notice is that there are actually a lot of firms who are hiring. And we talk to hundreds of employers every month, maybe thousands. And that theme has been consistent from so many employers across the state that there are actually a lot of good jobs out there right now. Those jobs might not match exactly what a person who may be unemployed did before the pandemic struck. And so obviously switching careers can be a bit challenging, but it's just become clearer and clearer to us as we've talked to businesses across Minnesota that there is opportunity in the market right now. And one of the things we wanted to do is just help businesses tell that story and elevate the opportunities that are in our job market and help Minnesota workers and job seekers find the good jobs that are out there today. So for the past week or two, we've just been talking to more and more employers about the opportunities they have available, the kind of work they've done to create good jobs in our state. And we've gotten a great response. So many employers have raised their hands and say, we're looking to hire and we're having challenges doing it, and we'd love your help. And this is really statewide. We've been doing roundtables in Duluth, in Rochester, here in the Twin Cities, in central Minnesota and beyond, and the theme is really consistent. You've got folks, for example, in Avon, who said to us, Joe Bauer, for example, he runs a company called Minnesota Manufacturing there. He said he's hired 26 employees over the past few months, and he could have hired 26 more if he just had the applicants. We talked just yesterday to a family team who runs the organization Felling Trailers in Sauk Rapids, and they employ 267 workers in central Minnesota. They haven't laid off a single employee since the pandemic began, and they're actively trying to fill 20 positions right now. These are just a couple of stories. There's so many more, and you'll hear from Rick and Tracy in a moment. But there are great jobs in Minnesota out there for job seekers to find right now. And what we know about recessions is that when employers do a lot of furloughing, they almost never bring employees back in exactly the same way or the same amounts, right? Things change. And so while we know that for many Minnesotans, changing jobs might be hard, and we certainly leave that up to the job seeker to decide what's right for you, we do want to highlight both what is available in the market and also how we can help people get those jobs. And so we've been posting the top 30 jobs that are or industry sectors that have been available on our website over the past several months, and we wanted to kind of bring that to life with the stories of employers themselves. So that's really the idea behind this campaign of Good Jobs Now. It's meant to be really organic. We're kicking it off with some stories from employers, but hoping that more and more will just submit their jobs on social media to us at Deed using that hashtag Good Jobs Now to let people know they're hiring, and we want to promote and amplify those as best we can too. So with that, I'll turn it over to Deputy Commissioner Warfa to talk a little bit more about how Deed can help, and then we're really excited to hear from Rick and Tracy as well. So Hamza, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Commissioner. Good afternoon, everyone. This is really one of the tools that we have here at the Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development. And as the commissioner mentioned, over the last, 6-7 months, we have really enhanced our services as it relates to Career Force, which is our job centers branding that we utilize, and in partnership with our private sector and our workforce partners, grantees and trainees. What we see as a unique opportunity is, as the agency and Career Force focusing on career development and guiding, job seekers into finding fulfilling opportunities and helping employers connect with these job seekers. So as matchmakers, in many ways, it's really our role, and I'm incredibly grateful to the work of our team and also our partners, including our employers who are really stepping up in the ways, creativity around how do you attract, workers in the middle of COVID when a lot of people are, staying home and so forth. So what I would like to do is just really take a minute to share some of the resources that are available to both our job seekers and our employers. And one of them is that we wanted to make sure that we connect job seekers and employers on a weekly and a daily basis. So we have a weekly virtual career fair where we connect employers and job seekers. We have a training programs, including digital skills training programs through a platform, Coursera. Some of you people to well-paying jobs and to developing the skills needed by employers. They are relevant for our different sectors in our state. And so we're seeing a real uptick in that, and we want to make sure that we share those opportunities both with our employers and our job seekers. Our Career Force locations are doing virtual services. So we do resume building, one-on-one counseling. We are connecting, individuals who may have barriers to digital, access with our online phone services. So folks can call our Career Force centers, and we have staff who are answering those calls and connecting them to job opportunities and training programs they may benefit from. So this is really just another tool that we see as really relevant and timely. We're grateful to be in a position where we have a lot of employers who are looking for talent, and in such a circumstances of COVID, where many other states might not be in such a position. So we're very lucky, really, as a state, that we have employers who are offering well-paying jobs in the midst of COVID-19. We recognize that this is just one tool of that meets the needs of certain job seekers. I just want to point out that we have opportunities for people who have high school diploma, who are looking for different type of job opportunities. So the whole continuum of we want to meet job seekers where they are, and so if they are fit for geography-based job opportunities, if they're looking for something to get going immediately and they're looking for that short term, if someone is on a career pathways where they want to really scale up and take different positions than they were doing in the past, we have all those opportunities. And I just want to extend and share people that Career Force MN is the platform where we connect employers and job seekers, and happy to share more as we dive into the topic. And now I would like to turn over, introduce my colleague and friend and a leader in our state, Tracy Tepani, who is the CEO of Wyoming Machine. So Tracy, take it from here.
Oh, Tracy, I think you might be on mute.
Thank you, Commissioner Grove. I was on mute. Good afternoon, everybody. Sorry about that. This is my first virtual press conference, and so sometimes I forget to turn off mute, I guess. My name is Tracy Tappaney, and I own Wyoming Machine in Stacy, Minnesota, and I'm really excited to be here for the launch of Good Jobs Now. I think this is such an exciting and important program. Wyoming Machine is a precision sheet metal fabrication company, and we make parts for a lot of different customers throughout Minnesota and throughout the country. Our customers typically are other manufacturers that design and assemble various pieces of equipment, and we supply components that they need to make that happen. So industries that we serve in Minnesota include industrial equipment, electronics, packaging, and many others. These are all industries that have kept relatively busy during the pandemic. Some of them have actually seen big increases in their work, and we've seen new projects as a result of what's happening during this difficult time. Wyoming Machine and other manufacturers from across the state, as Commissioner Grove mentioned, have struggled for years to find job applicants and workers with the right skills. Prior to 2020, our low unemployment rate was one of the reasons that we had a really difficult time finding workers. And like many other business leaders, I've spent countless hours over the past few months in virtual meetings with industry and peer groups talking about the challenges we're facing during the pandemic. Time and time again, what I keep hearing is that business leaders complain they can't find the right people, they can't find people at all, even though we all know that unemployment is extremely high in Minnesota right now. Wyoming Machine's a small employer, and we don't have a large number of jobs at any given time, but there are a lot of companies just like mine who are looking for people too. Small businesses employ about half of all the workers, both in our state and nationally. So when you look at us as a group, the people that we employ are really important to the state's well-being and our Wyoming and other manufacturing companies have jobs that require varying levels of skills. Workers are coming from industries like fast food and hospitality already have skills and abilities that are suitable for manufacturing. People who've worked in these industries are used to doing work that requires physically moving around on the job, following procedures, and abiding by workplace safety practices. These are important skills in manufacturing, and many employers are willing to provide on-the-job training to provide technical skills specific to the manufacturing industry. I'm thankful for the opportunity to participate today because I want people who have lost their jobs during the pandemic and who are seeking employment to know that there are good jobs available right now in the manufacturing industry. I'll end today by telling you that I have 2 employees that work for me right now who joined my company within the last 1 to 2 years. Neither had manufacturing experience when I hired them. One of them came from doing a job that was basically warehouse work, and the other came from the commercial roofing industry, spending a lot of time outdoors on top of the roofs of buildings doing work. Today, both of those employees are starting a technical math class through one of our state community and technical colleges. Their class is happening virtually, so they're not at any risk of being exposed to the coronavirus, and they're doing the training while they're at work. And I think this serves as an excellent example of how workers from industries that aren't necessarily manufacturing can find opportunities. If you're ready to work, if you're excited about the opportunity, there are employers like me out there who are willing to give you an opportunity, get you going, and then hopefully supplement what you already know with additional technical training and on-the-job training so that you could have a rewarding career in this industry. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Tracy, for that encouraging story, and thank you, Commissioner and Deputy Commissioner, for the opportunity to talk about jobs. My name is Rick Tronford. I'm the SVP of Human Resources for Marvin, the Marvin Companies, and we're a century-old premier provider of wood windows and doors and related products. We have 14 manufacturing locations across the country and 6,200 employees. And Minnesota is our flagship state, and Warroad, Minnesota is our flagship location, where we have about 1,800 employees, 1,500 of which work in our 2 million square foot plant here. We are in a unique spot right now. We've got 100 jobs to fill in Warroad, Minnesota, and these are really great jobs. These are $16 to $20 an hour jobs with full benefits. I was talking to Commissioner Grove the other week, and I think he was a little bit blown away by our relocation incentives. So we would love to see the industries that are damaged by COVID in particular, like hospital, restaurant, hotel, or excuse me, hospitality, hotel, restaurant, restaurant, etc. Look at these opportunities to relocate to a place like Warroad. It's God's country. It's up near the Canadian border, hunting, fishing opportunities for people, safe environment to raise a family, great schools. And we have amazingly relocation bonuses that we've never had offered before. $1,500 relocation bonus to move here from outside a 60-mile radius that will give you right away. Signing bonus of $2,500 regardless of where you're from. So if you combine those two together, $4,000 for plant production positions, including up in northern Minnesota. If you live, outside of 30 miles from Warroad, we provide $400 a month commuting bonus. So we really we have great windows and doors to build. We have a great workforce here, and we just need more folks to come and help us. Just a little bit about the kinds of jobs we have. Our biggest need really is for hiring production roles. Hands-on window component manufacturing and assembly includes on-the-job training. We're hiring material forklift positions in our warehouse, technical positions like CNC router operators, wood part machining, automated equipment technicians. And then, of course, we have multiple professional managerial administrative support roles in our office areas, in our plant office adjoining areas, and in our headquarters office that, we'll be hiring engineers and all kinds of folks for roles like that. But right now, again, we have 100 production positions that we need to fill. We're a company guided by values. Being a team member at Marvin means you're going to be well supported and cared for with ample growth opportunities and development opportunities. And we're having a job. We're having quite a few of these on site at many of our locations, but Wednesday, October 28th from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., everyone who shows up gets an interview, and many will receive an an on-the-spot offer to join our team. So I appreciate the good work of Good Jobs Now and the DEED group out of St. Paul, and reaching out to the outstate Minnesota to let us talk about the great jobs. And I would encourage folks to apply for a career with Marvin. So I'll go back to you, Commissioner Grove, and again, thanks for the opportunity.
Great. Thanks, Rick. Thanks, Tracy. Very well said by both of you. I think, one of the important components to these roles that we want to highlight too is that in manufacturing in particular, which of course is the industry that both Rick and Tracy come to us from, pays higher, 16% higher pay rates on average in manufacturing plants in Minnesota compared to the average wage across the state. So these are truly good jobs. And to Rick's point, there is, I think, a trend line here of people considering maybe a more rural part of the state as a place that they would want to live. And, those relocation bonuses help, certainly, but in a pandemic in which urban density is not exactly something that is as attractive given the state of the virus and the fact that a pandemic is here, you are starting to see more and more Minnesotans snap up real estate, outside of the Twin Cities metro and consider moving. So I think this campaign has focused more on greater Minnesota companies because of the fact that that's where a lot of these good jobs are and some of the trend lines we're seeing more broadly in the market. So thanks for sharing your stories. There are many more stories like these at mn.gov/deed/goodjobsnow. You'll also see in the coming days with the hashtag goodjobsnow on social media, other stories and videos posted by companies. We're going to be highlighting those, including a video from the governor that we have just released as well. And I think with that, I will turn it over to Jen Gates, our communications director at DEED, to moderate any questions from the press. Jen.
Excellent. While we're virtual, if you have a question, if you can raise your hand, it's in the top bar. You can simply click raise, and that will indicate that you have a question. And you can also type your questions into the chat. Looks like we have a question from Tim Blotz. Go ahead, Tim. You can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hello, Commissioner. Thanks so much for taking the question. Appreciate it. Tim here from Fox 9. What is the pool like right now for available jobs in Minnesota?
Yeah, it's a great question. We have seen on the state's job exchange, I think a little over 65,000 job openings that have been posted there. And to get kind of a sense of the shape of that pool, if you go to careerforcemn.com, you'll see the top 30 jobs in demand listed in rank order. Lots in healthcare, lots in manufacturing. even lots in the service industry, even though the service industry has suffered more than others given the nature of the pandemic. Some of those hire backs have begun to happen as capacity restrictions have lifted and folks have have begun engaging in commerce more regularly. So it is tens of thousands of jobs out there that are open and available, and we're trying to highlight really the very best of those jobs now. And a little bit to the point Hamza made earlier, many of these jobs, and you heard it from Tracy and Rick, don't necessarily require a degree or a great deal of expertise in the field. On the job training is a part of those roles. And so I think it spans the spectrum, but I think manufacturing is something we wanted to highlight here, just given those pay rates and given how consistently we've been hearing from manufacturers that they are hiring for these really great positions, which are really accessible to far more people than might otherwise think of manufacturing as a role they'd want to take. I think one of the things manufacturers tell me consistently is there's this perception out there that manufacturing jobs are dark and dirty and hard. And that's just not the case. That may be the manufacturing industry of the 1980s. Today, manufacturing jobs require using automation, understanding physics and chemistry. I've been, for example, to Wyoming Machine, and Tracy's given me a tour there. You have operators of machines that are quite complex. You're learning really complex skills in today's manufacturing plants. And I think that's something we want job seekers to understand too. There's a whole future of skill development on the job in these fields that's a really powerful addition to your resume and to your career.
Thanks, Tim. If others have questions, you can raise your hand. I want to make sure that you know that that's in the top bar if you're on a computer. You can also type your question into the chat.
Jen, this is Tracy Tappaney. I just wanted to also just add to what Commissioner Grove said, that manufacturing also has the perception of not being a place where women have opportunity. And I'm sure that Rick would join me in saying that, many manufacturers are working very hard to, make sure that there's opportunities for anyone who wants to work in this industry. And it's a place where all people can be successful. So I think that, you'd be surprised if you came to Wyoming Machine. I think right at this moment, we're actually slightly above 30% of our workforce being female, which is very unusual for my industry. So this is a place that, I think all people can be successful if they want to give it a try.
Yeah, couldn't agree more, Tracy. We're loving getting applications from women, and we've got safe jobs. We've got jobs where we can make sure that no one's exceeding any of their physical capacities in the work they do. We're very COVID safe. Really great opportunities out there for anyone who wants to take the plunge.
I wonder, Rick and Tracy, if you could talk a little bit about opportunities for advancement once you get a job at your companies, whether it's through training or just seniority and tenure. What does a career ladder look like for somebody who may come in at an entry-level job and then have an opportunity to grow?
Well, for us at Marvin, really the sky's the limit. We've had, in our town of Warroad in particular, you look at this, we've got 300 to 400 people that work outside the plant floor, and we're constantly moving folks from the plant who raise their hand for positions like in customer service and other areas. And we're posting jobs internally and filling them as quickly as we can. So with those jobs comes on the job training. We have tremendous tuition reimbursement options for folks that can take advantage of online learning and growth and developments at our very core. So Tracy, do you have any comments on that?
I would say a similar thing. I think many employers, and the numbers keep growing, are understanding that we have to identify what skills people bring with them when they come, look at them as individuals, and try to figure out how do we build on those skills to help them move into more advanced jobs. Not just because they want to do that, but because we need them to do that. So the individuals that I mentioned, I think that's a great example. Somebody that came out of commercial roofing industry, had been working outside, doing really hard during physical work during difficult conditions, came here, got a job operating a laser here at Wyoming Machine. We had to train that individual how to do that, but he learned quickly. A really smart young man. Told me that that was the first time he'd ever had a job where he wasn't working outside when, you know, it was really hot or it was raining or whatever was going on. We identified that he was being highly successful. Another job that became open and I couldn't find a qualified candidate. He actually advanced into that position, and he is one of the people that, you know, is starting a technical math class today. He's already done training in machining basics through virtual training, as well as blueprint reading and some other stuff. So he's actually on the path of learning to work in machining, which is something that we traditionally think of as you have to go to school. And oftentimes advanced machining does require that level of training. But there are even machining jobs available where they are lower skill level, and you can do on-the-job training that is supplemented with credentials and certificates from our Minnesota community and technical colleges.
Production's often just a foot in the door to other careers, and that's certainly the case where we are.
Thanks so much. I just wanted to do a last call for press questions. I'm not sure, Carter, if you had any questions.
Okay, well,
Looks like
thanks.
we're good.
We're good. Thanks for everyone for joining us. We appreciate it. I popped a couple of links in the chat if you're able to see it, both a link to the page we developed where these videos and some of these messages are stored, and then a link to the governor's video on the campaign as well. So again, thanks to Rick and Tracy for joining us, Deputy Commissioner Warfa as well. Thrilled to get this off the board, and just one other way we're trying to partner between business and government to navigate this unique time in our state's economy. So thanks everyone for joining us, and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you all.
Thank you.